when God said of Abraham, "For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him." That was in Genesis 18, verse 19. God wasn't just giving Abraham a compliment. No, rather, he was giving every man a charge. I'm calling on all fathers, on all men, to desire to enter into this charge. Desire that God will say about you, "For I know this man." What was God saying about Abraham? God was simply saying, "I know Abraham won't abandon his duty as a father. I know he will lead his home in righteousness." But today, can God say the same about many of us? Because when fathers fail, families fracture. When fathers fail, when fathers go silent, the devil becomes the loudest voice in the home. Let's look at the Bible's gallery of negligent fathers. Today we are looking at negligence. Even though we know that the things that lead to the welfare of the male child is not just fatherhood negligence, but let us look at the matter from this angle. Each one of the stories we're about to hear teaches us a painful lesson that fatherhood is not optional, it is accountability. And we are going to give account, just like Eli's story. Eli was the priest who looked away. There are some fathers who look away. Eli was a priest, a man of God, respected and revered. We all know this about him. But his sons, Ophni and Phinehas, were corrupt. They stole from the temple offerings, slept with women in the sanctuary, and they dishonored God. What did Eli do? Eli saw it. Instead of being decisive, he spoke gently to them. Instead of being firm, he did nothing. He was a priest in the temple, but not a father at home. You see, some of us could be priests in the temple, but we may not be getting it right at home. And God said, "I will judge his house forever." You see, there are consequences. Why was God judging his house? Because his sons made themselves vile and he restrained them not. And one day, what happened? Both sons died in battle. The ark of God was captured. And when Eli heard the news, he fell backward and died. You see, maybe he would have lived a little bit longer. There is a lesson here. And what is that lesson? A father who refuses to correct his children invites God to correct his household. Are you waiting for God to come and correct your household? Let us look at the case of Samuel, the holy prophet with unholy sons. Samuel was a prophet who heard God's voice as a child. He anointed kings. He led Israel faithfully. And in fact, when he was younger, people must have said about him, this man carries anointing. You know, what we call anointing. But when he grew old, his sons took bribes and perverted justice. They perverted justice. And Israel said, it was by the reason of the sons, Israel said, "Give us a king." Because Samuel's sons couldn't be trusted. That was why they were asking for a king. One man's parental failure changed the destiny of an entire nation. Sometimes a man can conquer the world but lose his home. He can mentor thousands but not disciple his own son. Success in public office is nothing if there's failure in private. These are the things we should just understand. I'm praying for you. What about David's situation? The mighty king who was a passive father. You see, passive fathers. Can I talk to passive fathers? Can we learn from David's example? Look at the might of David. David killed Goliath but couldn't confront his own son. You could kill Goliath but you couldn't confront your own son. David couldn't confront Amnon, who raped his sister Tamar. David was silent. Then Absalom, his other son, killed Amnon. And he didn't stop at that. And later he led a rebellion against his father. You can see how sin breeds sin. By the reason of the passivity of David. The same David who could face lions and giants could not face the sin in his family. Did you see that? And God told him, the sword shall never depart from your house. Just like in many homes today, fathers have become spectators. They provide money but not guidance. And when they go and win that big contract, all they after is go win the big contract, and when you come, you begin to pamper Bomboy. You pamper him. There are those who are physically present, but emotionally they are absent. And their sons grow up learning manhood from the streets, not from their fathers. Your life must be a school, a book. Your life must be a book for your son to read. Yes. That is the lesson. But let us look at the case of another father, Lot, the compromising father, even though he had daughters. But let us apply his experience. Lot, where did Lot choose to raise his family? He chose to raise his family in Sodom, township. Sodom, a city of pleasure, where there are a lot of, in today's cities of pleasure, you see a lot of red light zones. You know what the red light zone is now, Abi? There are nightclubs. There are occasions like, weekend occasions like Night of 1,000 Laughter. I'm not saying people should not go out and relax. But if that is your choice place to raise a family, know that you are raising your family in a place full of sins, just like Lot. It is not easy to raise families in Sodom. Okay, what of his choices in life? When he had to begin to choose a place to stay, he chose ahead of Abraham, green pastures. Lot was that kind of person who chose green pastures, not godly principles. In the end, what happened? His wife turned into a pillar of salt, and his daughters grew up so morally twisted that they got him drunk and slept with him. You see, there is something to learn from Lot about the choice of places in which you want to raise our families. You see, a father's environment shapes his children's values. You can't plant your home in Sodom and expect a Jerusalem harvest. Some fathers say, I'm doing it for the children. That is when they chase money. They're chasing money. You chase money until you neglect the souls of your sons. You have houses all over the world. And so you are under pressure to travel to Dubai today, tomorrow to Kentucky to eat turkey. Yeah? You want to go and salivate in El Salvador. Eh? And if you don't go, you want to go to Panama to go and sign Panama papers. Not be so. Learn from this experience. But what good is a full fridge? Some of us were chasing the money so that we can stuff our fridge. We don't travel like others who have houses all over, neglecting our sons. And we think that when the fridge is full of everything, of all the peri-peris, you see, you think you have played your role as a father. So what is the usefulness of a full fridge in your home if the home is spiritually empty? Fill your home with the Spirit of the living God. Can we look at a short-sighted father like Hezekiah? Short-sighted. You see, when God healed Hezekiah, he gave him 15 more years. And what was the next thing he did? He became proud. Some of us, at a point in time in life, pride begins to enter into us, like Hezekiah. And what did he do? He showed all the treasures of God to Babylon. And the prophet warned him that those same Babylonians will one day carry everything away, including his sons. Can you imagine that? But Hezekiah said, at least there will be peace in my days. Short-sighted. He was only thinking after his son. So his son Manasseh became one of Judah's most wicked kings. What is the moral lesson here? Fathers who live only for themselves raise children who live for nothing. Living only for yourself. You see, living fulfilled by the reason of the things you continue to achieve. You will raise children living for nothing. So what do we learn from all these stories put together? When fathers neglect their spiritual duty, families lose direction, communities lose order, nations lose moral compass. But when fathers lead with love and conviction, children grow into wisdom. Homes become altars. Generations are blessed. People, listen to me. God didn't make you a father just to pay bills. He made you a father to shape destinies, to plant divine legacies, to raise the next generation to whom we shall pass over the heritages of God. You are the priest, the prophet, and the protector of your home. Don't let your silence become your son's downfall. Don't let absence become your son's wound. Don't let negligence become your family's curse. I'm praying. God said, I know Abraham. Will he say the same about you? It is time to rise. Time to rise and pray. It is time to teach again. It is time to love again. Remember where Adam failed now. He failed to pass on instruction. It is time to teach again. Lead by teaching. Because when men stand right, families stand strong. When sons stand right, the next generation is going to be stronger. And when fathers walk with God, generations walk in blessing. When fathers lead families, we have hope. Please subscribe and share this video. Raise godly fathers for a godly nation. God bless you.